All right, thanks very much for joining us today. Today's guest is Andrea from WordLift, and he's going to show us, or he's going to teach us a lot about structured data and SEO, and very much looking forward to this session. Over to you, Andrea.
Good. Thanks for the quick intro. I'm very excited. It's going to be short but intense. So let's get started. So the plan for the session is to have a quick overview about structured data and then analyzing a few options for scraping, which is an important practice in SEO. I can see also, well, yeah, many friends here, and then as we gather data from the scraper, we will then bring this data back into Data Studio and try to understand what semantic analytics can be. So my name is Andrea Volpini. I am CEO of WordLift. We work on automating SEO by creating knowledge graphs. I don't know how much you are familiar with the concept of structured data, but I love this very dear client of ours that a while back wrote, I don't know what structured data is, but I get your invoice paid, and that's because in general with structured data in modern SEO, you can create an impact, and this impact is measurable. Whether you have a large business or a small business, when structured data helps Google understanding the content of your web page, then you will get a richer representation of your content in Google SERP, and this will transform into more clicks and therefore a growth of the business. Now, there's a lot about structured data and the importance of describing the content of your web pages to a machine, whether it's a crawler or a smart agent like the Google Assistant. But today I want to focus on the importance of structured data beyond the clicks, the impression, and the advantage that you can gain in modern SEO. And I want to kind of review a little bit these analysis that I was happy to contribute to for this year Web Almanac. The Web Almanac is an initiative of the Internet Archive, and specifically along with Jono from Yoast, I was involved in curating the chapter about structured data, and so I had the chance to look at 8.2 million website and around 40 terabyte of structured data around the web. So what did we learn, after looking at so many implementation of structured data? So the main point, or at least one of the aspects that I found most interesting, is the fact that yes, of course, most of us are using structured data in order to get an advantage on search engine optimization. But we can start to see, even by looking at the relationships that we see in these charts of the different classes, that there is a landscape of users and sites and tools maker like us that are starting to use structured data for other reasons. So it is not data that we prepare for Google only. This is data that helps understanding the meaning of web pages. And that's really the point of today's presentation. I used to kind of walk through the value chain of structured data, so the different layers by which we can create an impact using schema markup. And of course, the most obvious one, it's the rich results, when it is tangible And my article gets, because of structured data, into a rich features, into a carousel. Maybe I have worked on my business entity, and now I appear within one of these entity-based carousels, like, I don't know, best WordPress hosting company. And that creates a tremendous impact. It's visible, people click on it. It's a different way of interacting with search results. You can see an increase of click-through rate. Content fundability, it's kind of the other aspect where you should focus your attention. It's implicit as an impact, because you will get more queries, you will start to see more impressions. But today we're going to focus on the last part of this value chain, which is the semantic analytics, or what I call semantic analytics. It does require a data management platform. So using structured data for enriching your ability to generate reports and to gain insights requires a management platform. And here, I will ask Matthias to kind of provide us a little bit of an intro on what are data pipelines, because we are going to look at a data pipeline in a few minutes.
Yeah, data pipeline is basically bringing your data from A to B. In the context of Data Studio, it's bringing your data into Data Studio. And that's what we do for a living at Winster.ai. So if you're interested in getting your SEO, your Google ads, your Facebook ads, all your performance data into Data Studio, that's us. The second slide is another way of approaching it. That's probably more down the alley where Andrea would go. It's to take the data from your different platforms and pushing them into a data warehouse, and then from there, processing the data, creating your own joins, creating your own views, so that you can analyze the data in the right format you want. For example, we can bring together Search Console data with WordLift data, join it together, and then create actionable data.
Yeah, that's a sneak peek of what we plan to do, which is exactly to kind of join forces with Windsor and try to see if we can really create a connector that would make it very easy to do what we're going to see today. So what is the data pipeline that I'm going to share with you today? So,
there, I don't know.
Yeah. I can see someone. It's okay. It's a little bit of audio. So we're going to start with an e-commerce website that we created here at WordLift for demonstration purposes. So it's a fake website with thousands of products that we have created by crawling other sites, and it's for demonstration purpose only. It's called productfinder.wordlift.io, and it has its own Google Analytics attached, which is going to be one of the sources that we're going to use. And then we're going to use a Streamlit application, so a web application that I will share with you, or alternative for those of you that are more familiar with Python and Collab, we will use Elias Advert Tools library. Elias is here with us. Thanks, Elias, for joining us today. This is kind of a more advanced way of crawling data. Of course, any way of crawling data, it's valuable in these contexts. So I'm just using here a Streamlit app and some Python code alternatively, but you could use your Screaming Frog crawl, or whatever crawler you love. We're going to bring the data from the crawler into Google Sheets, and then we're going to create a blended source. A blended source, it's something magical in Data Studio that allows us to combine, much like we would do in a SQL join, information from different sources within one single view. And that's the view that we're going to use in Data Studio for the charts. So web scraping, that's a quick presentation of how the web scraping it's going to work, and I'm just going to share it live. I've been developing these as I was testing various ways of getting data from web pages. This is extremely important if we're looking at, for instance, a competitor, if we're looking at sometimes even our site. It's a good practice. So tell me if you see the web app. Do you see the web app now, the tab? Okay, it's good.
Yeah.
All right. So here how it works. This is an application that you can use. It's really for demonstration purposes, but it's fun, and you can freely use it off the web, and I share the address. So here what I do is I add a template of a page, which is the product page that I have over here on our fake website, and here I'm just gonna very simply, without going through the process of adding any code, I'm just gonna kind of list the attributes that I wanna grasp from this page, and you know what, these are attributes that I have in structured data. So behind that web page with WordLift, I am creating the markup for the product that we're gonna use as a template for the crawler. So here I'm training this scraper by pointing to the name of the product, the price, and the category. Okay, so just very basic attributes. Now I'm gonna add a bunch of URLs from the same site, and I'm just gonna let it crawl. And you can see here I put a limit on the number of characters because this is really for crawling a few URLs. You don't want to use it in scale. But here I have the resulting tables that, as you can see, it's grasping the title, it's grasping the price, but it's getting the category. Then I have the URL, but here I have a column that I don't need, right? So here there is I've implemented a function of this library that allow me to refine the results. So I can train the scraper by just providing a single URL and the attributes that I want to extract. And then I can, run with these refinement that will display the various rules that are behind the results that I'm seeing. So here, as you can see, there are a bunch of columns that are simply extracting stuff that I don't need. And I'm just gonna, remove the rules that are not important for the work that I'm doing. And once I'm done that, if everything has worked as it should, then I should be able to. I could also remove these. I should be able to recrawl the URLs, and hopefully I have now got rid of the column that I don't need. I will just wait until the process is over, and then I'm just going to recrawl, and let's see. And as you can see here, I have finally only the data that I want. So I have the title, the price, and the category. And this data, it's not inside the web page, specifically this part here, but it's you find it in the structured data. So this is a very simple way, and then of course I can download the spreadsheet. I have already loaded the spreadsheet over here, and you can see that I have limited amount of products, but it's good enough for starting to do our analysis. Now back to us. I've also provided you with a Collab. This is slightly more advanced. And yeah, this is the way. So that's the cool way that I use for doing a lot of my scraping. It's extremely fast, it's reliable. I'm not gonna dive deep into the code because I want to focus more on the data studio part, but feel free to ask me any question. And more importantly, you can speak directly with Elias Dabas, who is the creator of the library that I use for the analysis of the website. So here, I start from the sitemap, so it's a little bit more structure as a workflow. I start from the sitemap, and you know, I look at 2000. Yeah, the Collab is available. It's for you. You can play with it. You can change it. You can do whatever you want. Absolutely. So here I just get entire sitemap, only filter the product by looking at the structure of the URLs for the products. I crawl them, and then more importantly, I focus on attributes in the JSON LD that WordLift creates that I'm gonna use in my augmentation, in my analysis. So here you can see that, for instance, I'm looking at the brand, I'm looking at the offer. These will allow me to extract the price from here, and then in this example, I'm also looking at the color of the product. So here, I'm kind of playing again a little bit, cleaning up things, getting the price, and additional information that are contained inside the schema offer. And then here you can see that, for instance, I'm drawing a quick chart with the different category of products, but. So both options are okay. Of course, the first one is really more of a toy truck, if you want. The second one, it's can be used for analyzing hundreds of thousands of URLs. It has its own pitfalls because it will not be able to detect structured data when structured data is injected using JavaScript, for example. But it will allow, for instance, in this case where WordLift is writing structured data directly on the payload of the page. So now that I have this spreadsheet where I have the first file which I have created with the first scraper, and then I have the second file which is the one that I have created with the Collab. I have these two sheets inside one spreadsheet. I store the data. Imagine that you could do the same with Screaming Frog, Sidebulb, and the other crawlers. So what do I do? So I have created this data studio here, and this data studio, this first page, it allows me to see the breakdown of the session in Google Analytics with the category. Okay, so I can see that clothing, it's accounting for 50% of the session. How do blended sources work? Okay, so let's quickly review, because this is really one of the most important things that you will learn today. So blending data in Data Studio is as simple as creating a setup like the one that you see on the screen. It's really a way of doing a SQL join without writing a line of code. So I have tables, like for instance my first table, which is the Google Sheets. And then in my second table, I have the Google Analytics. And then we have a list of available fields that I can use from this table within the join. So with the purpose of creating a view of combined fields. And then I have the configuration of the join, how I want to blend this data. Okay, if I just want to take everything from the left table that overlaps with the right table, if I just want to look at the strict overlap, the inner, and then of course the name of the blended source that I'm going to create, and what are the fields that we are going to represent inside these blended source, which it's a view on on two or more tables combined together by a unique key. So of course, in my example, the unique key, of course, it's the URL. Okay, so here I have the structured data, and then I have the Google Analytics, and then I'm using the URL on both sides to combine them. And these allow me to look at my analytics. So for instance, the session by, looking at the category. But let's look at, kind of a more advanced example where I have created, a blended source that uses the second spreadsheet, where I also have, for instance, the color and the brand name. Okay. And so here I'm creating a chart that it's using as a dimension the product category, so the accessory, the bags, the clothing, and the shoes, and then it's mapping the session and the price. Okay, and the size of the bubble, again, it's the session, it's the traffic. This is a demo site, so it's a fake traffic, so it's not really representative. But I can see that, for instance, in this example, the accessories have, the biggest average price, but they do have less traffic than of course the shoes and the clothing. And if I click on it, as I have also selected now the cross filtering, I can see the list of the brands that I have in the store for the accessory. So I not only see the potential in terms of average price, but I also see the amount of session, and now I can see the breakdown of the brands and the breakdown of the colors. If I kind of reset things again, here I have all the brands, and I can start from here and say, okay, what do I have in white? So if I look at the color white, well, the color white, I have only shoes and I have clothing. I don't have any accessory in white. I don't have any bags in white. And here I can see the breakdown of the brands that I have that have a product with the color white. So this is a very simple demonstration of how you can get data from structured data and use it inside the data studio by leveraging on these data blending that, as you can see here, it's blending data from, that I obtained by scraping with data that I obtain with the table. And then of course here I can, play with the various, combination that I need to do in order to just get the right data. And, I can change these and I can see, that in this case, I will just get on, the inner join between the two tables. Again, I also provide you with a link to the data studio. You can make a copy, you can play with it. Also the file over here, it's shared, so you can play with it. It's only demo data, and it's for you to practice and to learn how to use. Now, before concluding the session, life is not a bed of roses, so there is always something to keep in mind. So one aspect is that, for instance, structured data, if it's injected at rendering time using JavaScript, cannot be easily crawled with the Collab that I provided you. You will need something more sophisticated where you spin off your browser. Screaming Frog does have an option for crawling data in JavaScript. Data is messy and inconsistent. Now I've analyzed the data that I've created with WordLift. I know what data we create, but we could do the same with a competitor website. And of course, sometimes the data, it's inconsistent, it's messy. So we always have to spend some time in understanding, where is the quality that we can use in order to create, a visualization that makes sense. Structured data is available now in multiple syntaxes. You might have, some microdata on the template. You might have some information in JSON-LD. So you need to really find the data points that you need. Of course, there are multiple tools that could produce contradicting statements. And that's also the problem that Google has when analyzing structured data. And as you will start to look at more closely what structured data competitors have, you will realize that most of them have better data than you. Hopefully not, but that's that could be the case. This is all for this session. I hope it was instructive, and I'm open to any question you might have.
Not many questions. Can I ask one just quickly?
Sure.
Like, who do you follow in the SEO performance marketing industry?
Oh, man.
where do you learn from? Like, where do you learn these things?
That's a good. I follow Elias. He's here. He's the creator of advert tools. So I follow a bunch of people that like us try to be more data centric. There is a lot of people that I would recommend, like Elias and Charlie Wagner, and I mean there is Paul Shapiro. There's a tremendous list of people that you should follow to learn more about being data driven.
Okay, thanks very much for that answer. Are there any other questions from anyone?
Hi, sorry. Hello. I have a question actually. So, does implementing structured data with geolocation, will it help to come up with nearby searches, just like stores near me, what I want to ask? Got it? Hello. Am I audible?
Yeah, sorry, we hear you talking, but I couldn't really understand the question.
Yeah, you're kind of breaking.
Okay. So my question is just if I do implement this structured data with geolocation in my page, will it help to come up with nearby searches? Will it help to rank in Google with nearby searches? Just like best cloth accessories near me, kind of this.
Not sure I understood your question.
Okay. So yeah, I'm not good in explaining. So the third time I'm just asking.
Okay, so, sorry, can you maybe just type it in the chat? Let me take it this way.
Yeah, sure. No, but mostly because you're breaking, because the signal is breaking, and I'm not grasping everything. But if you write in the chat, then we'll take it from there.
Okay, cool. I'm writing.
Cool. All right. Anyone else in the meantime? Is it instructive? Is it? For me, it was a great discover after quite some time that Data Studio has become solid enough to process a lot of data. So the first thing that we found out within our team that we could get pretty much limited amount of data from Google Search Console. Whether usually the Google Search Console data is limited to a number of calls. It seems that the connector is kind of overcoming this limitation, and that makes it extremely valuable to quickly. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I got your question. Yeah. Implementing geotagging structured data help to rank for near me searches. Absolutely. Yes. Totally. We have seen tremendous impact in the context of, for instance, lodging businesses and in the context of service markup. So service markup, it's something that you use when you want to promote a business-to-business activity. And one of the attributes of service markup, it's the served area. So the geographical area where you're providing this service. And you can interlink entities, geographical entities in Wikidata. And we found that this is extremely effective because it opens the page to a specific queries coming from a specific locality. And the same also we see it in travel when dealing with lodging business and providing information about the destination with specific geo-coordinates about the local business. So absolutely yes. Do you not recommend using JavaScript while embedding schema due to crawling issue? That's a good question. I do recommend to make sure that the crawler is capable of capturing the structured data. And very simply, you can go in Google Search Console and inspect a URL where you have injected the structured data with JavaScript and see if this has been captured by Google when crawling the site. Alternatively, but they might not provide you with the same results, you can use also the Google Rich Result Testing tool and make sure that the data is visible. But of course, if there is a chance for you not to use JavaScript for adding structured data, I would recommend you to do so. Because of course, as we know, adding JavaScript means adding complexity for Google. And as we saw, for anyone that wants to run a crawl on structured data. And since the purpose of structured data is to make information accessible in a machine readable format, you want to make it as simple as possible for a crawler. But having said so, I mean, there are circumstances where there's no issue in using JavaScript, but make sure that you control if the crawler is able to see the JavaScript that you have added. And these might change over time. Yeah. Yeah, good. Someone, it's okay to use or implement multiple structured data on a website. There will be then impact on crawling or loading time. Structured data is something that has to be done with purpose. There is no limit in terms of, how rich you can be. Of course, there are various ways in which you can implement structured data because, of course, you can load it synchronously, asynchronously with a JavaScript. So in general, your performance shouldn't be impacted by the amount of data, but you still want to make sure that you are consistent and clean enough for anyone to understand what you're talking about, because redundancy is never good. And so you want to keep a lean approach even when you look at structured data, and you want to use only the things that really creates a business value for you and for someone like a crawler, like Google crawler. So again, is there a point in, for instance, describing the material of a product in structured data? Yes, there is. I mean, it's super important. Do I need to use multiple formats on the page? No, I don't. I mean, I can use a JSON LD or I can use microdata, whatever comes simpler, but I don't need to have, multiple formats on the same page for the same data. Now, the important part, it's consistency. So what I want to make sure is that I'm not providing one information, let's say in the JSON LD, which is conflicting with the information in the microdata. I can even combine data in JSON LD and micro format in some circumstances. I've written a blog post a while ago on why and how you can kind of merge the two. But you want to keep a lean approach. You want to look at your data with the eyes of a crawler. So write your own crawler to analyze your web pages and try to see if you get inside. That's why also it's important that we start using structured data for us, for augmenting the web analytics, because that allows us to understand, is it meaningful what I'm writing here, or it's bullshit. I don't need it. It's noise, Yeah. Multiple is fine. Yeah, cool. Good, good. I can see questions on the chat.
I think we're running out of questions here.
Hello, can you hear
Hi.
my voice?
Yes, go
Hi.
ahead. Hi.
My question is a bit far from the main topic. I'm a student, third year in computer engineering. And it is going to be a general question.
Sure.
I want to do a master on data science. Can you give an advice or something, a bit tips for the studying about the data science, or the how can I say the advantages of the I don't know.
Where do we
Can you
start?
give a bit tips? Yeah, where do I'm really confused because this is a really complicated topic, and there's a lot of paths. I just listen.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I can provide you a simple answer. Simple answer is that you need to find questions that you want an answer for. You know, because that's the starting point. You need to be eager to find an answer to a question. So that will lead your path, because my question, for instance, is, you know, it's, can I automate SEO? Is there a way to automate repetitive tasks and create value that people can measure? This is a driving, you know, question for me. And I wake up in the morning and I try to think, okay, what can I do today to, you know, automate SEO and create a repeatable impact? You need to find inside yourself, you know, these questions. And then these will automatically open the doors of, you know, whatever sort of training. You can use, you know, any sort of technology, languages, even forget about learning a computer language and just use, you know, the co-pilot of OpenAI. So you just write the sentences. But the real driving force is, what is the question that you want to find an answer for? So find that, and then you take it from there.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the answer.
All right.
Right on. Then I say let's wrap up. Thank you so much, Andrea. It was very insightful. We will share the templates, the links, and the recording with everyone, as mentioned by Adel, and have a great rest of your day.
Yep. Bye-bye. Ciao, everyone.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.